Hey, Adam Lewis here, and in this episode of the Deer IQ podcast, we're going to look at what the NRC just signaled they're willing to do to make changes to regulations and the deer herd here in Michigan. Also, we're going to look at what it's actually going to take to get long-term change, which is what a lot of people want. What will that actually take? And a big hint here, it's not $1 or APRs. All that and more in this episode of the Deer IQ podcast.
Welcome to Deer IQ. Here to help you hunt smarter, elevate your approach, and consistently tag exceptional whitetail. Whether you're just starting out or a longtime hunter targeting mature bucks, this is your edge. We bring you proven tactics, expert insights, and unfiltered conversations with high-level hunters who just get it done. Guiding you through it all is veteran hunter and strategist Adam Lewis, helping you spot what others miss, fine-tune your focus, and unlock your full hunting potential. So let's raise your deer IQ. Here's your host, Adam Lewis.
Okay, so in the last episode, I had a conversation with three other guys. Good conversation. You're going to want to go back and listen to that if you haven't, where we look at all these issues going on in here in Michigan with the deer herd, people's satisfaction, the DNR, the NRC, all these things. We looked at the 2025 data and really what that shows us. And there's some really key things coming up soon with the NRC, which apparently is looking at making some changes. You can get involved with that. I'll talk about more how to do that here in this episode as well. But I want to look at what it's going to take to get long-term change here in Michigan, the argument of $1 versus APRs, where that fits into that. I think it's much different than that. And I really hope that the NRC gets a chance to listen to this and the DNR. So let's share the heck out of this episode, guys. And I'm really saying this for deer hunters in Michigan, but also I'm speaking to NRC and DNR. I'm talking to you guys as well. So first thing I want to talk about is goals. Goals are the crux of all this that has been going wrong in our state, and also the miscommunication. It's almost like the NRC, you guys are on a different page than DNR. And I firmly believe it's because of some really terrible goals. So this playbook right here, if you're watching the video, I'm showing it, was made in 2016. And basically these goals, we went over them last week, are have enough deer to hunt and not too many to cause a problem. The DNR, and this is how it works for hunters out there, they make recommendations to the NRC. They're supposed to be the experts, right? And to make regulations, right? And the DNR goes off these goals. If these goals are terrible, then they can't give good recommendations, and the NRC, can't make good regulations. Really, is that simple. And when you look at these goals, that is the root, I believe, of our problem. They're so generic. They're so unmeasurable. You can't measure them at all. Did we even meet the goals? What regulations help us get to these goals? It's just so broad and unfocused that no wonder we're all over the map, right? This creates problems that I think we're seeing now between the DNR and NRC, where the DNR is presenting stuff like in, I think, the last meeting, where the NRC, from what I've heard, is like, well, why are you telling us this, right? It's like they're on different pages. And we really need to get on the same playbook, guys, so we can get going in the same direction. Goals are the answer to that. This is before we get to talk, really, of $1 or APRs. And I fully support, here's what I'm going to say. I fully support going ahead with $1 right now in the next regulation cycle. I support that. And I really think as hunters, there's enough science behind it. It's been tested other places. That's going to produce good change. And I do support that. So I'm just going to say this. I want all hunters to get on the same page and communicate that to the NRC and the DNR and whoever they can, right? We need to get unified. That seems to be where the momentum is. There's, again, a lot of science out there, a lot of experience, a lot of examples where that is very beneficial for a deer herd, for a healthy, science-backed, what makes a healthy deer herd. So I'm going to say that. Let's get on the same page if we can, guys. Okay, that being said, though, I think the major fix is not that. The major fix for long-term is getting some really good herd science-backed goals. What makes a good, healthy deer herd? What's the science behind that? We talked about it last time. Any good biologist should be able to tell you this, especially a deer biologist, about a balanced buck-doe ratio, have a diverse age structure, have the right habitat, right? And actually, the NRC just signaled this. So this is what Josh, who was on our last episode, who's been going to all these NRC meetings, he's been really involved, Josh Arbogast, he just sent me this. And this is what he said the NRC just said in the last meeting here, which was yesterday. This is what they said they're going to be pushing for and vote for here in April, I believe. And these are the things: improve age structure of bucks in Michigan, manage antlerless deer by DMU, improve buck to doe ratio in Michigan, facilitate collaboration with DNR to improve winter habitat, including partners like UP Winter Habitat Work Group, NDA, and others. And the fifth one, improve hunter satisfaction. So I commend the NRC for doing that and saying those things. I think that's along the right lines when you just look, again, biologically, what makes a good deer herd. But really what's happening here is the NRC is getting ahead of the DNR because the DNR is not making good goals. And so DNR, you need to get on the ball and get focused with the NRC on what goals you want and need for the deer herd here in Michigan. You guys need to get on the same page. So these goals need to be remade, DNR, and you guys need to be pulling as a team in the same direction. So you can give, DNR, you can give good biological advice to the NRC, and they can make good biological-based recommendations. That is important. So we need new goals, herd health-based goals, and we need to be able to do one more thing. That is measure them. Okay, these goals, NRC, that you just said you're going to vote for right here, that I just read, these still are falling short. You cannot measure these. How are you going to measure these? Measurement is super important, and it's real simple to fix this, but it should be biology backed again, right? So improve age structure of Michigan of bucks in Michigan. What age structure? How much of each buck? And even before that, we need a baseline of where we're at. Improve from what? What is it now? How many 1.5-year-olds do we have now in the landscape? 2.5s, 3.5 plus. What is that by, DMU, by zone? What is that right now? We need a baseline. We need a way to measure that so we know where we're starting from so we can go where we want to go. How are you going to show this is working? How are you going to know what regulations changes to make if you don't have measurable data, stuff, numbers? You need numbers. So we need numbers with these. Even though I like these goals, they need to be measurable with metrics. We need dates on them. By when? Improve age structure. We want 33% or so, plus or minus 5%, to be 1.5-year-old bucks. 33%, 2.5-year-old bucks, plus or minus 33%, 3.5 and above. I don't know. Talk to a biologist about the exact breakdown. But we need numbers on those, and by certain dates. By when? By 2030? By 2035? By next year? We need to have accountability now with these things, and you need to be able to measure them so we can see if we met them, and you can see what regulations changes you need to make to either improve those to meet those goals, to see if you are meeting them compared to the baseline of what it used to be. And if we need to back off, if we do too good a job and we need to back off some of these regs, that all should fit together. The only way you can do that is by measuring. We've got a lot of ways to do that now. DNR, drones, they're here, right? You can get very good deer herd surveys with drones. Consider getting some. Trail cameras, right? There's a lot of ways I'm sure you can get good baseline numbers every year so we know where the deer herd's at. And any regs changes we make, we can tell based on the numbers how they're affecting the deer population, right? Another thing that's a goal in here that is good, buck-doe ratio. What is that? What do you want that to be? 2 to 1, 1 to 1? Okay, put a number by it again and measure it, right? If you can do that and show how your changes in regs caused the change, you're going to meet one of these goals. Improve hunter satisfaction. We've been way too concerned with hunters' opinions in the past decades. Let's be honest. It's been run by hunter opinion. There's proof of this last year when the NRC voted to make youth season doe only, and then they backed off it because a few people whined. Okay, we need to get good goals, know why we have them, and be able to stick with them. And when you have science backing it up, this is what's so important. When you have science backing it up, then you can move forward with confidence and ignore the whiny people that don't know what they're talking about. And let's be honest, guys, a lot of us hunters don't really know what we're talking about when it comes to deer biology. And I'll throw myself in there too. You shouldn't listen to me unless I make sense, right? Our opinions need to be valid and based off facts and real things. Valid opinions are important, not just any opinion. The DNR and NRC, if they can get on the same page and we get some goals that are science-backed, what makes actually a healthy herd, and we have regs then based on those to get us to those healthy goals, then NRC, you really shouldn't be listening to many people, right? You're sticking with the plan. And we've got to stick with this for the long haul, not like the youth season thing where it was changed before the season even started. We can't be doing that. You got to stick with this stuff. We got to get thick-skinned. But having a confident plan and knowing it's based on science will help you do that. That's another reason to do it. Another thing that will help, I just started to mention it there, was improve hunter satisfaction. In Michigan, 50%-ish are just don't trust the DNR and NRC. Why is that? Well, because they've never been able to back up what they're doing. This is where the numbers are important. If you're actually measuring how many deer we have, the ratio of bucks to does, the age classes, you have measurements, you have data, and you can show what you're doing and how it's affecting that, you will start building trust. But as long as you don't have numbers, you're just saying things and have these very weak, flimsy, wide open goals, you will continue to not have trust. So doing this the right way, science-backed, herd health goals, regulations that back those up and help us meet those, and you're measuring them, that'll go a long way to making trust. We really need to get on these goals. Then the 1 buck and APRs, where does that fit in? That's just a side thought. That's for the biologists, the experts, to figure out if these are our goals. Is it a 1-to-1 buck-doe ratio or 2-to-1? 2 does for every buck? I don't know. That's where the biologists come in and say, okay, if this is what we want to reach these numbers, these type of changes and regulations will get us there. And then you just implement them. It's really that simple. That is going to help so many things if we'll just do that. But regards to 1 buck and APRs, that's when the DNR, the biologists, the experts will implement the right thing. Is it APRs? They should be the experts to know this. Is it $1? They should be the experts to know this. Now, again, I support $1 right now because I think it will get us closer to where we want to go. But all these other things really are much more important than just focusing on one little regulation. Because if we don't get the goals good, if we don't get them fixed, if we don't get them herd health based, guess what can happen?
Every hunter has blind spots and weaknesses holding them back. What are yours? The Deer IQ Test 360 is our complete hunting strategy and skills assessment, designed to uncover the holes in your approach, fix them fast, and refocus your efforts on exactly what gets results. It's quick, insightful, and delivers personalized suggestions based on your unique hunter profile. If you want to consistently tag better whitetail, the Deer IQ Test 360 is where to start. Take it now, linked below or at deeriq.com.
All right, and real quick, if you are interested in really being a much more consistent, deadly hunter, I want to tell you about the Deer IQ Advanced Coach Small Group. This is for very serious guys that really want to learn exact tactics, exact mindsets that the best hunters use. That is a class we're offering. It is for 3 or 4 people only. There's teaching, there's coaching, there's application. It's a great educational experience for those people. Check it out below. We're running a new course, and you can sign up for that there. Also, if you're a private land guy and you're sick of the neighbors shooting your deer, or most of them, you're not living up to the potential of your land should you feel, we can help you. We'll look at your land and give you an honest evaluation of what habitat work you need to do to help attracting and holding those older class deer, and also your hunting strategy, which is super important. So check that out below and see if it's for you. That's a Deer IQ Smart Land Plan. If we don't get the goals good, if we don't get them fixed, if we don't get them herd health based, guess what can happen? We have tons of turnover in the NRC. Okay, those are constantly churning over those seats. The DNR has turnover. And so everybody's going to kind of revert back to the current goals. We get a new, head of deer, moose, elk in the DNR. They're going to revert back to the goals. That's what they're supposed to do, right? They're supposed to make recommendations based on the goals. We get new NRC. They're just going to take, they're going to take those recommendations from the DNR. And if they're based on bad goals, we'll go right back to where we were. So we not only need good goals to help us now, that is going to be the fix long term. If we get, let's say, $1 in here soon, that's great. In a year, though, if we get a different NRC mix, whatever changes, that could go right back, right? And I'm not sure if it's a few year cycle, what it is, okay. But it could quickly revert. And we want it long term. This is going to have to be a very long term thing to see change. I think it would take, if we did $1, it would take probably about 2 or 3 years to start noticing it as a hunter, I think there's data to support that, like how long it actually takes. And some people, in people's minds, it's going to take much longer for them to really say, okay, I admit it. I think this is making a difference, right? It's going to take 5, 8, 10 years, right? We've got to stick with it for that amount of time. And that's going to be different NRC members at that point, maybe different people in the DNR making these recommendations. So the goals are super important. All right. So obviously there's a lot of opinions out there, but NRC, DNR, I really hope you guys get on the same page with this, that you get your goals aligned, that they're measurable. They're based on the deer herd health, what's going to make a healthy deer herd and the science behind that. And then you guys will run with that and not listen to a lot of people, because you're going to get a lot of whining with any change you make. That's fine. That's a part of it. I would just say, stop listening to so much people. Stop worrying about this. It's about the deer, not the money. We need to get some changes in here, and the goals are a huge thing for the long-term fix. Now, a lot of you probably have your own opinions. Put them in the comments below. And I will tell you, the Michigan Whitetail Project, follow them and Josh Arbogast. He's the one really going to a lot of these meetings and giving this information out and really making an impact in some of his buddies. Get a hold of him, but we really need to reach out to the NRC on this. And the next big meeting is April 8th. So check that out. Consider going. I'll put some links below to help you with that. And also, I will say, we mentioned this, the baiting thing in Michigan that's going through the legislature right now. You may like that. You may not like that. I will say this. I think it's dangerous. Whether you like baiting or not, it really doesn't matter. Okay. To me, this is not about baiting in Michigan. This is about how we structure and make decisions for the deer herd. Do we want it going through the legislature with people that are not deer experts at all, politicians, or as much as you may think the DNR and NRC, is kind of not that great sometimes, would we rather it go through a system that is at least set up to put deer experts in there, that's shielded somewhat from politicians? Like, that's why that's there, right? Would we rather go through that or through politicians? Because that's setting a precedent if we go around the Natural Resource Commission. So that is on the table right now. And I personally think it's a bad idea to just push that through and make it a law going around the NRC. All right, next time we continue our series on deer by the data, and we look into another area. We look at drone data, observing deer with drones, which is big now, what we can actually get from that versus another way to get data, which is collared buck studies. Universities have been doing those for a while. Which one is better? Which one is actually better and good science for us learning about deer and their habits to make good hunting decisions? I think one is way better than the other. We'll talk about that next week. You won't want to miss it, and I'll see you then.